Hey guys, Quinn here, ValhallaOutfitter.com. Welcome to the channel. A little bit different than usual. I had my usual setup in the other room and realized that the freaking camera was all tilted. It looked like an old original Batman when they'd show the crooks. It was crooked. Today's video, we're going to delve back into the Black Bay 58 and the Black Bay 54. Variations on a theme, a movement kind of through time. I had received a Black Bay 58 and sent it back, opting to keep the 54. One of the big differences for me was the T-fit clasp that is now standard on this 54, which is not present on the 58. So I sent the 58 back, but then I found a 58 that they had already done the Ranger bracelet install for me. Now, obviously here it's on leather. I'm a big bracelet fan, and I think this watch actually may look better on leather. Sadly, I took the Ranger bracelet off before I made this video, but I've got some still shots so you can see what it looks like, and then stay tuned. We're going to run you through the differences between the two, and then a quick talk through the still shots so you can see what that bracelet looks like. And I hope this helps you if you're torn in between the watches in terms of a decision. There is no bad choice. They are both exceptional watches. This is basically +0 every day. This is +0 every day, maybe +2 if it's not getting worn as much. Exceptional timekeepers, real good looking watches. You can't go wrong. So watch this comparison video and I hope it helps you. See you guys later. Bye-bye. Okay, the biggest difference between these two, well, there's a few. The bezel is textured in a different manner. The clasp is very different. The 54 has the T-fit clasp, which is also on the Ranger and the Pelagos, I believe. The size, obviously, this is a more diminutive 37 mils. This is obviously bigger. It's a 39 millimeter example. Lug to lug isn't as big of a difference. Only, I think, 1 mil separates the two, like 47.8-ish, 47.6 on this one. And then this one is around 46 and in the middle, right? 46.5 right in there. Many people say this is reduced, refined. In some ways, I agree. You'll notice that the crown is significantly smaller and really snugs up next to the case, which is very nice. It is also thinner by half a mil, maybe, roughly. And I agree. It does wear incredibly comfortably. It's about 20 grams lighter than its big brother. This is a homage to the 1954 model 7922, which was their original Submariner. And then a few years later, 4 years later, in 1958, this came out. The big difference to many is this T-fit clasp. So when I was evaluating which one to go with, I have another video, Battle of the Bays. I sent the 58 back. For me, that was a big enough deal on the T-fit clasp. I picked another one up that was previously owned, and the previous owner, this came on leather with deployment, but the previous owner also bought the Ranger bracelet. Now the Ranger bracelet fits perfectly onto this case, and it features a similar easy micro adjust to the 54. If you haven't seen that micro adjust, here's how it works. You flip the safety catch, pop the back, and then hidden inside here, you just pop the bracelet down and you can slide the little glider and lock it into place, similar to how an Omega is set up, or I suppose a Rolex. A couple of differences. This 54 does have the faux rivets that are oft maligned and hated. The Ranger bracelet does not have the faux rivets, and the Ranger bracelet has the quick adjust, whereas the BB54 on bracelet only has 3 adjustment holes, which requires the use of a spring bar tool. Not necessarily a deal breaker in its own right. People have been used to those for a long time. However, I will tell you, I just took this Black Bay 54 to Alaska. I don't know, I think it might have 8 mils of adjustment, possibly. In the course of one day, in temperature changes, humidity changes, elevation changes, probably salt intake changes, I used the entire range of adjustment in the course of a day. The watch always fit perfectly. If you only have the spring bar tool adjustment of micro adjust, you can't really do that on the fly. And that Seamaster 300 Heritage also had the glide lock, or whatever they call it. I'm telling you, having had that, I don't think that I can ever go back. So I got rid of the Black Bay 58 because it did not have that built into the bracelet. But now that I've got the 58 with the Ranger bracelet, I will show you the Ranger bracelet and some stills so you can see what I'm talking about. I just did a strap switch before I made this video because I thought, okay, well, I have two watches that are basically identical. They're both listed for sale. Now that I have that quick adjust bracelet, I like both of these to the point that I would be equally happy with either one. And the fact that I've got this on leather OEM with deployment, it might actually edge out the 54 slightly. However, I've got 6 3/4 inch wrists with that swell to 6.96 on any given day depending on conditions, right? So the micro adjust thing really made the difference for me. And then when I switched, I thought, well, I might as well switch this onto the strap because I've got it, and then I can have one on leather and one on steel for different occasions or whatever until I sell it or decide which one to keep. And I have to say that generally I'm a bracelet guy, but on bracelet with the BB58, you don't notice the red triangle so much or the creaminess or the gilt. On leather, it just seems to soften it up and really gives it the look. I've really been enjoying. I enjoyed it on steel, but that Ranger bracelet may sit in the watch box for a while because I am really enjoying wearing this on leather. That being said, I would be equally happy with the 54. Now, the 54 is thinner, but on wrist, it's negligible how much you notice it. The BB58, if you've worn any kind of dive watches with a little heftier, and coming from a background of both the Planet Ocean and the Heritage, this is a pretty thin watch for me, for a diver. However, this is smoother. I would also say that for whatever reason, this bracelet feels more elegant or more well-made than the Ranger bracelet, including the operation of the T-fit. The T-fit on the Ranger, it doesn't feel janky, but it does not feel as smooth or refined as the one you will find on the 54. Interestingly, although the Ranger bracelet is made for this larger watch, the clasp on the 54 is quite a bit bigger. And I don't know if because it has extra real estate or is bigger, it gives you it gives them a little bit more space for that refinement and higher quality, or maybe it's just me. In any case, I would be equally happy with each of them, but my wrist is kind of in the Goldilocks zone for these watches. I've kind of decided that for me, it's like 39 and a half mils is really right in there is my Goldilocks. 37 to 40 is really for me. So I can wear either one. If you have a wrist that is smaller than 6 3/4 inches, or even say, call it 6.5 inches or smaller, BB54 is probably going to be a superior fit for you. If you have a wrist like mine, 6 3/4 to 7-ish, even 6 3/4 to 7.5-ish, maybe let's just call it an even inch, 6 3/4 to 7 3/4. You're probably where you can comfortably wear either of these, right? Once you get to 8-inch, the 54 might start to look a little bit small, but lest we forget, Sean Connery wasn't a small guy and he rocked it. So in the watch business, the watch world, the watch game, the watch avocation, get what you want. Get what you like. Get what you love. Get what makes you happy. lucky for me, I'm in a place where I like both of these equally, to the point that I would be happy keeping each of them. The only reason I likely won't keep both of them is that they are, you know, variations on a theme. They are two different watches, but they are close enough in similarity that I probably am going to let one go down the trail. So then what I'll do is I've got my Seiko 5, which is my 38 millimeter orange face beater, and then I'll have one beater and then one watch, and that's it. The only caveat to that, and why you might get more videos, if I sell the 37 and I keep the 39, I might get one more smaller watch, so maybe the middle grade, like the Certina, maybe the Action Diver. If I get rid of the BB58 and keep the 37, I still do kind of miss and pine for the Planet Ocean that I sent down the trail. That could be, I think, a one-watch collection. I fell out of love with the helium escape valve, never fell back in love with it. I liked the Heritage Diver they were putting out, but the only one they made in 39 mils is the limited edition that costs extra, and I just won't pay it for the LE stamp on there. So maybe they will release a 39 mil that is normally priced, and I would consider it. But these are both bangers, great watches. I'll show you the still shots of the of what this looks like on the Ranger bracelet. It works perfectly. You could get into one of these used right now. 2,600 to 3,200-ish is kind of the range, the market range. 26 is pretty nicked up. And then if you wanted to go buy a brand new Ranger bracelet, you could, or you could get lucky like me and find one where it's already been done for you. And I think that bracelet's about an $860 proposition from the AD. So you could still get into one of these for less than the cost of a brand new one with reasonably good condition, and then add the Ranger bracelet. That's kind of maybe too much work for me. I just happen to get lucky and find it where somebody was thinking the same thing I was, so it's already been done. And then I figured I can probably send it down the trail without getting killed if I choose to go that route. But after time on wrist, both excellent choices, not a bad choice. The gilt isn't as flashy I was concerned it was going to be. The thickness evaporates and melts into your wrist. You only really notice it when you're staring at them side by side. But in terms of wearability, they're both great. I don't think you can go wrong, and we'll do one last little segment of this so you can see what it looks like on the Ranger, and I'll follow up with a video next time I'm wearing it that way. Thanks. See you in just 1 second. All right, as promised, we just wanted to show you what the fit looks like on that thing if you decide to add that Ranger bracelet to the BB58. So that's how it marries up right there. That's it installed. You can see the end links fit basically perfectly. It looks like it would be stock. Some people have commented that the recipe for the steel is slightly different, so there may be a little color variation. If there is, it's really not enough for me to be able to tell. Side view of the 3-link composition of that bracelet, and again you can kind of see how it marries up there. There it is again. One thing you'll notice is that there is not like the little pointy bit of the shield right there where that fingernail gripper is for you to flick that thing open. There it is. Again, the clasp itself is actually slightly smaller, I think, than on the 54. They both function well. However, this one just doesn't feel quite as nice as the other one. But for all intents and purposes, the Micro Glide or Glide Lock, whatever they call it, T-Fit clasp accomplishes the exact same goal. And you notice too that there's no little bumps on the side, and I don't know if those faux rivets pop out. But one thing that people lambast often about this is those faux rivets, and they are not present in this case. So you get the T-Fit, you lose the faux rivets, but you keep the 39 millimeter size of the 58. Again, there you can kind of see the steel and how it looks in comparison to the case. Not really much of a difference I don't see in terms of the color. Side view, sadly I got a couple little flea bites on there, but when you take it into service, they'll probably take care of those. And again, you can see the contour of that bracelet with no rivets. Other side, same idea. So sorry this ended up being a little bit longer than maybe I would have liked, but I did want you to see those stills at least. And then if I turn it back into the on steel version with the Ranger, I will share that with you guys. However, I gotta say, on leather, this thing is pretty sharp actually and pretty comfortable, so I don't know if it's going to go that route. There it is in profile. It wears pretty flat, even though it does appear that this is slightly thicker. All in all, I would be 100% happy with either one and have no trouble recommending either one. For me though, the BB58 probably has to come with the Ranger bracelet or some other version that has the T-fit. It does make that big of a difference, at least in my opinion. Thanks for coming by. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.